Hi everyone, Neil Douglas, and this is American Truth Finders. I know this is Super Bowl Sunday for a lot of you that are probably watching. I was thinking about maybe not doing the show tonight because of those of you that might be watching the game because you just wanted to sit back and enjoy something or whatever. But I decided I'm going to continue with the show anyway, and I hope that I get some viewers. If I don't get many viewers or I don't get many comments, I'm going to probably cut the show short tonight. I don't want to bore you. I'm not going to just talk and not have some comments, because I know that a lot of you don't like it. Well, listen, you people are great about listening and watching what other people comment. So I hope I can see I've got 2 people on right now. I want to welcome both of you, whoever you might be, but I got 3. All right. Well, at least 3 people are not watching the game unless you're watching it in the background. If you are watching the background, that's okay. No, okay. Hey, you're anxious. Say, hi, and I'm glad you could join us. Laura, my faithful viewers right there. That's really great. I really appreciate it. And tonight we're going to be talking about a couple of things that I think are very important. We want to talk about the Defense Agency's idea to address extremism in the ranks as service members and of federal civil servants. This is an important thing because we're not only going to talk about the military and civil servants and the extremism, because what is extremism? I think we have to look at what they refer to as extremism, because they do talk about things such as the upholding the Constitution against foreign and domestic terrorists and so on and so forth, which is great. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what our Congress people do, or at least that's what they're supposed to do. And how many of them have already talked against our Constitution? How many of them want to change the Constitution? How many want to go on and degrade America for our role in the world? And we're going to talk about that tonight. We're also going to talk about Lori. Lori, I'm glad you could make it. You said you just got off work. Though I want to know if it's going to get better. Is that what you're talking about? Let me make sure that's right. I think that's what it says, because there's a lot of question marks there. All it says better, in the way I'm saying, or because I'm going to tell you something. Dave Frank, hey, thank you, Dave. I'm glad you could make it. I hope that you can comment, Dave, or whatever. If you have anything to say, please feel free to say it. That's for all of you, any of you that are taking part. Lori, I want to get back to what you just said there. You just got off work, and I appreciate the fact that you did join. As I said, tonight is Super Bowl night. I know a lot of people are going to be watching the Super Bowl, and I understand that. And so the point I'm getting at for tonight is we're going to talk about also censorship, freedom of speech. What is the future of America with it right now? I mean, everybody's being shut down. I mean, when you take everything from the former president of the United States to people like Mike Lindell from the pillow guy, he gets shut down. In other words, if you don't agree with social media's guidelines or whatever, or whoever's in charge, you're done. You're all done. So we're going to talk about these things. Doris Roberts, hi, I'm glad you could make it. You could care less about the Super Bowl. Okay. Well, I guess that goes for me right now too, because I'm not watching it either. I know there's a lot of people that do like to watch it, and then that's okay. I can't blame them for wanting to get away from the constant lockdown of COVID and watching something that's not, that's different. They want to. Lori says, I'm talking about all the stuff, the crap that's going on. Okay. Lori, I have to be honest with you. There's so much going on right now that I don't know if there is any way to stop it. And I want to get into that. So please, if you can, as long as you can, for those of you that are with me right now, stay with me, share the video, please, so we can get some other people involved. I'd like to hear comments from as many people as possible. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to read to you. I'm going to read to you the article that the defense, that was done by the defense secretary, and that's Lloyd Justin III. He's the Secretary of Defense, and this was on Friday, February 5th. And he says they signed a memo directing commanding officers and supervisors at levels to select a date within the next 60 days to conduct what they call one-day stand down to discuss extremism in the ranks of their personnel. Now, this goes on to say the Department of Defense instruction, and I'm not going to read you the number, that's not important, you can find that out yourself, but handling dissident and resist activities among members of the armed forces. We want to get back to that because I want to find out what they're referring to, what you think they might be referring to as far as resistance and dissent against the armed forces. Are they talking about people that are trying to go AWOL, or are they trying to talk about people who are, helping foreign countries and what have you? We need to talk about this, and it provides the core context to support such decisions. Discussions. Leaders have the discretion of their to actually tailor discussions of their personnel as appropriate, but such discussions should include the importance of the oath I lost my place, so I want to make sure I get back to it, because this is a short memo. Support such discussions. Leaders have discussions with their personnel, and that as appropriate to such discussions stated in the article of importance of the oath of the office. There we go. A description and impermissible behaviors. What are impermissible behaviors? Is that going on media? And procedures of resorting suggested or actual extremist behaviors and in accordance to the Department of Justice. Now, I wanted to read that to you because that's just a short part of that memo. I don't want to read the whole thing. You can get it online. It's very, very easy to get online. The actual, where it goes into more detail. This is serious. This is very serious. I'm going to have to tell you right now. So going back to what you were saying, Larry, there's a lot of going on right now that I don't know if it's going to change. We've got a Democrat Congress, we've got a Democrat Senate, we've got a Democrat president, and I say a Democrat House, Senate, and administration. Will we have another election where there will be a Republican in office again? I'm not saying that a Republican is the answer. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is we have a situation that's very serious. We don't know what the country's going. Dave Frank says it has to stop in our communities. And Dave, you hit a good point because you're absolutely right. Because this is where so much of communism starts is within our own communities. If you think about it, because if you go back and read what and I've said this time and time again, when you go back and read what the Working People's Party says, they have been taken over by the Communist Party of the United States. They have been infiltrated, and they start with the local communities, and then they work their way up toward this into the federal government. So this what Dave just said about it has to start in our communities. It's absolutely right. And Dave does have a site. It's called onevoicenow.org. I invite you to take a look at this, and I invite you to contact Dave about this because he's got a plan. And I think, Dave, if I'm not mistaken, you're trying to get to Mike Lindell on this plan. If I'm speaking out of turn here, Dave, please correct me because that's my main thing is that I don't want to misrepresent what you're saying. The point that Dave is getting at on this by starting in the communities, if the communities if you have the say so as to what is being done or what laws are being passed or whatever in your community, that's like an election, but it's more of a referendum. That's the way I would put it, Dave, in my words. So I don't want to speak for you. So anyway, I'm inviting you to take a look at Dave's site, and you decide for yourself, and you can contact Dave, I'm sure, just by going to his, messaging him. But here's the thing I want to know. Getting back to this military situation, we've got, 20,000 military that are still sitting in Washington, D.C., at the Capitol, that's got a fence that's bigger than the wall practically. I'm exaggerating, of course, on the southern border. But what does that say to you? What are they afraid of? What are they afraid of if they have to have a wall and 20,000 military troops there? Somebody tell me what you think they're afraid of. I'll tell you what I think. I think they're afraid of the fact that they know what happened on January 6th, and they're afraid that people are going to maybe overtake the Capitol again. Garbage. That was not the real Trump supporters, as I would call them. In my opinion, it was people that were part of what happened last night in Washington, D.C. In case you're not familiar or not ready for this, I'm going to tell you something. Black Lives Matter and Antifa took over Washington, D.C., and even said, burn it down. Now, this is something that is, I didn't print it off, but I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this because of the fact they can go down and march down the streets of Washington, D.C., and they can say, let's burn it down. Let's just burn it down. All right? They can get away with it. I don't know if there was any arrests. I didn't get to see the whole article, so I want to apologize for that. Here, let me turn this down because there we go. Sorry about that. I had a background noise coming in. Laura says, we'd rather watch you than a Super Bowl. Don't cut it short. Laura, that's very kind of you. Really it is. There's so many people that come and go, which I understand. That happens on my show. Because a lot of people either don't have anything to say or they prefer not to say. Because they don't want to offend anybody or they don't want to get involved in the situation. Because let me tell you something right now, people, you are very brave. You are very, very brave because you say what's on your mind. And if you say what's on your mind now on many social medias, including this one, I'm going to be honest with you, they can take you down. And if they do that, what happens? You've lost your freedom of speech. That's the censorship that part of the show tonight. What has happened to America that we are censored? Hi, Rebecca. I'm so glad you could make it. Hello, and God bless everyone. Rebecca, God bless you also. Thank you for joining the show. And I really appreciate you taking part. I appreciate everybody's taking part because, look, this isn't about me. This show is about you. This show is about what you think. I only give you a possibility of topics that we can talk about. You can change it like Lori, said, is this ever going to stop? Well, the question first I would have to answer to that is, how are we going to stop it? Because with the control being in the House and the Senate and the administration is all now on the left. Now, not everybody that's liberal is progressive. Let's understand that. There are people out there that are liberal, but they are not progressive, and so far left that they're going to fall off. So this actually affects everybody in this country. The censorship affects everybody, not just the people on the right. And believe me, there's people on the far right that are just as bad as the people on the far left. And trust me, I'm going to tell you that right now because you've seen it, I've seen it, anybody's seen it. These are people that are really, really dangerous. And they're the ones that are destroying our censorship. In a sense, they're part of it because they're trying to destroy America. They don't like America. They are anti-fascist people, and this is what it's all about. And when I said that what happened last night in Washington, D.C., how many of you saw that? The Black Lives Matter and Antifa both not only wanted to burn, said, they didn't want to, but they said, they used the term, we're going to burn the city down. We're going to burn it down. They were interrupting people having dinner. They were doing everything they could. I'm going to go on. Rebecca says, we have to stay very quiet or we will lose it. We have to, if we, I got you. We'll lose this country. You're right. That's why I don't shut up, Rebecca. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that because you're absolutely right. We can't stay quiet. Because this country's so close to being lost now anyway, it's unreal. Rebecca says amen, and I'm not sure which part was amen for you, Rebecca, but thank you anyway, and because, look, America's in danger. It really is in danger. And when you think about the fact that now we have, Biden wanting, even though he cannot make it a law, but he wants to make it to where you might have to wear 2 masks or 3 masks, or we might have to wear masks for 2 or 3 years. Look, where is the people's right? This is up to the states, not up to the federal government. Dr. Fauci might be yelling at it about that, but he's yelled about so many things that he's changed his mind on so many things that's unreal. Anyway, I don't trust a thing he says anymore anyway. I don't know about the rest of you, but that's the way I feel. Terry, how are you, Terry? No, I'm glad you could make it. Sorry I was late checking in. Don't worry about being late. I'm glad you could make it. And for all of you that are watching right now, please share this tonight, if you would, not for me, but for the people that are commenting. And the topic itself, we're talking about the military wanting to find out what their the people in the military are doing, what kind of media are they on? What are they going to check into their whole background, clear back to when they were a child? What is going to happen if the military does that? And I'm very serious about this because when they talk about they want to address extremism, what extremism are they referring to? What extremism is the military referring to? And will it affect civil citizens, regular citizens? They're already talking, and they're talking about civil services, not just the military itself, but civil services. Rebecca says, I want to go on down here, and I don't want to miss anybody's comments. Rebecca says, Biden is here to destroy this country. It is a mess. You know something? I want to be honest with you. In all fairness to anybody, I don't know if anybody watched the Mike Lindell video that was on One America Now, and it's been on YouTube, and I don't think it was able to get on Facebook or Twitter. But anyway, the bottom line is, if you haven't watched it, he's got a lot of very factual information, supposedly, from people who actually know, and there's supposed to be more that's supposed to come out, stuff that hasn't even gotten to court yet, but we're talking about things that may not even get to the Supreme Court until October. My question becomes, even with what Mike Lindell is trying to do, this man, I got to tell you, he's been taking the pillow guy, as I said earlier, he's been taken off of every social media there is. I'm going to get into something about that in a minute here. Rebecca said we need to stay close to the Holy Spirit. Absolutely, amen to that, girl. I'm going to tell you what. Well, the country has given up on God. God didn't give up on us. The country has given up on God, and when that happens, He's willing to take us back if we allow Him. And America needs to allow Him. Now, I'm not going to stand on a pulpit here because I don't have a Bible and I'm not a minister. I know what my heart says. I know what my mind thinks. And Rebecca goes on to say, we need to speak out. Well, that's what we're doing, Rebecca. And I appreciate the fact that you are brave enough, and everybody on this show is brave enough to speak out. Because let me tell you, you are chancing being taken down by Facebook, Twitter, any other social media. I know there's new social medias popping up or trying to pop up. I've heard that Parler may be coming back on very soon. Things are working to where they're trying to get them back on very soon. We can't be quiet, according to Reagan. You're absolutely right. Fauci is a criminal. You know something? I got to tell you something. Fauci is in on so much. I think he is part of the China movement, if you want to put it that way. I'm using that term very lightly. And again, as I know that people are going to come and go because you might not be interested in what we're talking about. And maybe I do jump around too much. And if I do, just tell me, please. I do not want to lose people because I do the jumping around. This is your show. Please allow it to be what you want it to be. This is your show. I'm just here as your host. And I noticed that the KPS on my video is jumping back and forth. My question is the video, or is the live show, I should say, going as it should be, or is there a breakup and slow down, or is anything going on with the live show? Because the KPS is definitely jumping around like crazy. Rebecca says, Fauci is a criminal. We got to that one. Let me see what else you had to say. I want to make sure I get it right. So is Burks. Yeah, you know something? You haven't heard much of her lately. I have to say this is something that's very, very interesting. You haven't heard much about her at all lately. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know where they're at. I mean, I know where Fauci is. I know what he's up to. Without a doubt, I think that he and Bill Gates are probably in it together. I'm accusing Bill Gates, and that's my opinion, because there's been so much said now. Of course, Bill's tried to defend himself and say that it's nothing but a bunch of hogwash about the chips and so on and so forth, and it might be. I don't know. Plenty of people are getting the vaccine. The point is, you notice who's got investments in the vaccines. That's the clue. That's the point I wanted to get at. And Terry, let's see what Terry has to say. The notorious Bays, I like the way you put that, will not allow us to speak out. They will eventually make it illegal to speak the truth, and they're going to, and as they are doing in Canada, I believe. Something, Terry, I want to mention something about that. There is a lot of censoring going on in Canada, but the United States is picking up speed so fast with censorship. They want to take down Fox. They want to take down One America News. They want to take down Newsmax. CNN is being told by the government. If listen to what I'm telling you, this is my thinking, that CNN is being told by the government. Well, CNN is owned by AT&T. AT&T is trying to sell CNN. I don't know if they've got any buyers for that, but if I was AT&T, I think I certainly would jump ship from them, because I'll tell you what, CNN has deliberately misled people deliberately lied, deliberately not covered important news and covered it all up. So that is censorship for people who have something to say. They wouldn't let somebody like, all of a sudden, I guess CNN wants the Mike Lindell to come on, or all these other, ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever else. I don't know who at all. But according to the video that he did, I have to tell you, they're censoring him. They just want to put him on so they can try to beat him up. Oh, he's already been beat up enough, but I tell you what, he's not going to back down. I want to keep going. Trump signed a bill that put us back to the 1981 Constitution of a Republic, and the deep state is failing. They are coming down. Rebecca, I hope that's absolutely correct. I'm going to tell you. And Terry goes on to say the proof. Let me tell you something. You guys are great. I tell you what, I love your remarks and comments. I really do, because you're saying things that so many people are afraid to say. You're saying things that so many people are really afraid to say. I'm going to tell you. I'm hoping and praying that I'm allowed to stay on this Facebook, at least for now, as long as I possibly can, because I'm going to tell you, this affects anybody. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian. This censorship, this seriousness that's going on right now, the trial that's coming up next week, or when I think it's this week, is a trial just for show, because I'm going to tell you, there's no way that I can see that they're going to find a citizen guilty of anything and being able to impeach him. How can you impeach a citizen? How can you impeach a president? I want somebody to show me, and I so far haven't found anyone yet, to show me where Trump said, let's go take over the Capitol. Let's destroy the Capitol. I want to see that. I want to see where they've done that. When you have people that in the squad who have been lying, who have been telling and inciting just as much as anybody has accused Trump of doing. The former President Trump has not incited anything and until I'm proven different, I'm going to stick with that. Hey, Jason. I'm glad you can make it. He says, I know it's time it's time. The time is now for all of us to get involved and help those around the world, around us. I'm sorry about that. To wake the hell up. Well, you're absolutely right, but I believe Trump and the military has this whole sting operation figured out. We're watching a movie play out. There are many in America that made a deal, to play out the whole role and not be executed. Hope you don't have a hard time reading this. And then we should laugh out. No, I think I read that okay. I think I did. Did it look too obvious? Anyway, well, you know something, Jason, I want to tell you something. When you said about a movie playing out, I had posted a movie called America. I just one part of it, the very first section of it, very first one. It's called America, and it's spelled with a K. The two main characters are Chris Christopherson, who plays a former senator who ran for president and was put into the prison because he didn't agree with what was happening, because we had been taken over by Russia in this new movie, or this series. It was an ABC series in 1987. It is on YouTube. I advise each and every one of you to try to find that movie and watch it. I posted it. You can go to my website and you'll see it's a picture of a guy and a girl. But anyway, that's where the movie actually starts. Watch the first hour of it alone, and once you do, you will want to watch the rest of the series. It's a long series, but I'm going to tell you something that's worth every bit of it, because what's happening in that movie in 1987 is like they wrote the script of what's going to happen today. and what is happening today. People put in camps, people who disagree with the government, people who end up getting murdered, they get killed because they disagree with the government. I'm telling you right now, there was even in this movie a part of this movie where they took over the Capitol. The enemy took over the Capitol, and that was to blame the people, the American people, people that were in camps and so on and so forth, the people that were trying to save this country in this movie. They actually, I'm telling you right now, they even set it on fire, and then they murdered everybody in Congress. This movie, I'm telling you right now, is scary because it's like, who wrote the script for today? I went back to America, the series America by ABC in 1987. I found the series and I started watching it. I'm telling you, I couldn't stop until I got done. I beg you to watch it. I beg you to watch it because I'm telling you it's happening today. But maybe some of the things are different. Yeah, there's some huggy and kissy face type stuff that's like in any type of series. But I'm going to tell you something. The story, you want to watch it, and I especially want you to watch the end because I'm telling you, the end is what says the most when he says, I cannot do this. When they tried to tell him not, they wanted him, the former president or the former senator. He was a troublemaker, so they put him in prison. They wanted him to tell the people to stop and give up. He says, I can't do that to America. I cannot give up. I'm telling you right now, this is a video you want to watch. Please watch that series. It's going to take you some time because it's a long series, but it's well worth it. I'm sorry I got to rambling, but I wanted to get what Jason was talking about as far as this plays out like a movie. Because the military was, in this case, I mean, they had helicopters that looked like drones, for crying out loud. Back in 1987, I'm telling you right now, that the police wore the headgear just like they're wearing today. It's like it was written for what's going on today. It's like government says, okay, let's play out this movie now. This happens for so much. Star Wars, anything like that, anything that's happened on TV or in the movies or whatever, it seems like government ends up doing it. It's like they work together. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get on a rant. Rebecca says, I think it was 1871, and don't remember the date. Don't worry about it, but I think you could be right, the 1871, about that, Rebecca. I really do. You have to watch the video that Mike Lindell, he shows how they took the election. Yes, I did watch that. Honestly, thank you for bringing that up. I did watch it. You can't post it here on Facebook because they took it down, from what I understand. And the proof that Mike Lindell has, he's fighting hard. I'm telling you, man, this guy's on fire. He is fighting hard. He is trying. Look, think about this. Think about this. You have a former president of the United States who was doing things. The economy was getting great. The jobs were getting great. People were yes, we had the COVID. That was not Trump that invented it, and it wasn't Trump that was sitting in a library or in a laboratory with his white coat on, acting like like a scientist. This was a serious situation, and it's still a serious situation because of the fact now, as Mr. Biden has said, he wants to unite the country. Well, guess what? I'm sorry to say this, but I disagree that he's uniting the country. He's doing exactly everything he said he wouldn't do. I mean, he signed so many executive orders that made everybody's head spin. Like one of those mannequins or ventriloquist dummies where their head can spin. Look at all these executive orders. How many laws has he broken already? I don't want to question that because he signed so many executive orders. I think some of them are laws that he can't. He doesn't have that right. This is another term of the Obama, as far as I'm concerned, except we have somebody else in charge. And if you don't like what I'm saying about Biden, that's your right. What I'm saying about Biden is what I think is happening is he lied to the American people. And I know we're not supposed to talk about the election because we might be taken down. Well, I'm going to tell the Facebook police that, right now, these are opinions. People have seen things. How can 75 to 80 million people be wrong? And what's going to happen when 75 to 80 million people decide we're not taking it anymore? I don't want to see bloodshed on the street. I don't want to see people, destroyed. I don't want to see their lives destroyed. Look, this is a real thing. This is not just a. Well, it goes back to what Jason said. It's kind of like a movie. And I want to go to Lori now because Lori says they're getting rid of the meat eaters. COVID is a vax. Gates and Branson lab meat business eat panting horses and COVID did I say that right? Or is that how? That's not horses. Horses which could COVID earlier last year. CEO stepping down from major corporations. You got a point there. Stadiums closed. Most will be dismissed, but COVID will if it isn't. Just a minute here. If it isn't already in the meat. Watch the documentary Dominion. I have seen it. You're right. And believe me, you'll want to stop eating meat after that. I have gathered some from the doctor's office I used to work at. And Neil, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Okay. Like you're too close to the mic. Okay. Thank you for saying that. Actually, I've got my mic underneath my computer. So I apologize for that. I'm sorry that you are having a hard time. I'm wondering if maybe I'm just too loud and I got too loud with my voice. But thank you for telling me that, Lori, because I do definitely want I want to not lose people because they can't understand me or hear me. Rebecca says I was thinking of I want to make sure I get this right. Oh, you were thinking about fasting and praying. Has anyone done that? There's a good point about that because, many religions and many faiths, I should say, because I don't like the word religion as much as I do the faith because religions are more man-made. But anyway, I know what you're saying. But many religions and faiths do fast and pray, and that's what we're supposed to do. I mean, biblically, that's what it says we're supposed to do. I think that if we had Pastor Mario Sims on, he would tell you the same thing. Rebecca says, yes, they are panicking. Right now, and again, I know my voice gets a little bit loud, but I'm going to tell you something. Something's going on inside that Capitol between the House and Senate leaders. When you have Nancy Pelosi, actually, I'm going to tell you who's running the Democrat Party of the House right now. It's AOC. AOC is and Pelosi's afraid of her. And then when you have uh, the Mitch McConnell, who is the he's the minority Senate leader. He's not going to be able to do anything. But they're all running scared, so they have a fence built that's higher than as high. They're the ones that didn't even want a fence down at the border, so they're letting people in. What's going to happen to these? I mean, there's so much going in my head right now. I'm going all over the place. But what's going to happen with all these people that are coming into the country that may be carrying other diseases besides COVID? And going back to what Lori said, about the meat and so on and so forth. That one I don't know about. I know she said she talked to a doctor about it, but the thing of it is, it's almost like they are telling you, they're brainwashing all of us. Remember, we had a show last week, I think it was, that we talked about the deprogramming. That the Trump people have to be deprogrammed. Well, how are you going to deprogram 75 million people plus if that's what you have been done? If we've been deprogrammed, then guess what? The other people have been programmed. Think about that. If they think we need to be deprogrammed, that tells me they have been programmed and they want us to be programmed just like they are. Well, I'm sorry, I can't join their group. I can't join their program group. And then they could try to deprogram me all they want, but it's not going to work. I'm at an age where I don't deprogram easy. Rebecca says we're going to go through rough times, but hold the line and pray. Rebecca, that's a good point because I mentioned this last week. That we are going to go through some hard times. And Rebecca says, I want to help everyone in need. You're bless your heart, Rebecca. You've got such a kind heart, and I can tell by your posts. I can tell by the messages that you post. She goes on to say Rebecca goes on to say, all roads lead to Rome. I guess the statement is true. I have to agree with that one. You're absolutely right. And you're referring to Lori. Rebecca says it's all meat, even chicken. Well, yeah, it is. I can't disagree with that. Sometimes I get all the chicken that's kind of dry though. Anyway, for those of you who just joined, I want to say thank you for joining. And we're talking about some pretty heavy stuff right now, so you might want to stay tuned. And if you have anything to say, please feel free to say it. Larry says the TV is definitely showing the future. Terry says, Neil, you're right. It could be very dry. It is. Anyway, look, we're having a situation where what now is censorship? In your words, your own words, what do you think censorship really is right now? Is it trying to take down anybody who disagrees with the government? Isn't that kind of like communist China? If Twitter disagrees with you, if Facebook disagrees with you, or if any social media agrees with you, or if any news media disagrees with you, is that not like communist China saying, hey, you can't talk that way. We're not going to allow it. I'd like to know what you're thinking. What is your opinion of censorship and what's happening? And I'm going to make it a little announcement that some of you probably already seen, but I'm going to make it anyway in just a little bit here. Now, I'm if you see what I'm putting up here, it's to help me make sure I read this right. It says they're allowing illegals to come into the, and Biden told the border not to stand down and to let them in. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Rebecca. And this is what concerns me is what happened. All right, let me ask you a question. before I even go to Rebecca's next statement, I want to ask you a question. What about the people here that are immigrants that came here illegally? What is this going to do them? What is it going to do with American citizens that have been here all their life? With Biden opening up the gates and saying they'll let everybody in, Homeland Security stand down, don't arrest anybody, do they know? How can they prove that when somebody brings a 16-year-old child in, a 16-year-old, we're going to say it like a 16-year-old girl, how do you know that this guy is not some rapist that's going to come here and bring this child in and claim it's his child, and she's being forced in on it without her say so? How do we know? Because we don't. We don't know. They're going to get all kinds of good things handed to them if they come here. If they just walk in, and all of a sudden you become a citizen, you get to have a stimulus check, you get to have housing, you get to take over the Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and maybe what other states. Now, Biden, in my opinion, doing this is selling out America. The Democrats that are on the far left, the progressives, I'm talking about the progressives, I'm not talking about the moderates, because they got the same thing on the right that are not doing anything to stop anything. You got somebody like Rand Paul who might stand up and say, we can't stand for this. Well, how are we going to stop it if all of a sudden the elections are done? If all of a sudden in 2 years there are no more elections, or you can have an election, but it's going to be just like an election from Venezuela. You can have an election, but you know who the winner is going to be. What has happened to America? What has happened to our country? I know we all know what's happened. I know we all know that this, something went haywire so fast. I've never seen anything happen so fast. I heard that Musk is possibly, Elon Musk is thinking about buying CNN. Would he make that into a conservative station? That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? That was just a thought. I had to throw that in because it just jumped into my head. Because I don't like what's happening in our southern border. I don't like what's happening to America. I don't like what's happening to people that are leaving their homes and their cities because of where they grew up, because they're afraid. When we are taken over by, they're worried about homegrown terrorists, you better worry about who's coming in from the border that Donald Trump had stopped. And now, all of a sudden, that's done. Within a matter of 3 weeks now. So many executive orders, so many things that Donald Trump had tried to build is gone. So many things that he tried to help this country. We're supposed to now depend upon energy from another country. We're supposed to depend upon the government to give us money to stay home. We have to sit and let businesses go out of business, moms and pops, and even chains that are owned by individuals. McDonald's, Burger Kings, or whatever, Taco Bell's, it doesn't matter what it is. If they're owned by an individual and they can't afford to stay open, they're going out of business. We will become a third world country if we're not careful. We have to stand. Rebecca, you said that. We have to stand. We have to stay faithful. We have to pray. We have to fast. We have to do whatever it's going to take to save this country. We need to bring God back into this country. We need that so much. We have turned our back on him. We put him out. He didn't leave us. And I'm not a theologian, so I'm just saying what I was taught. I'm going to go on and read some more here. I'm sorry. Rebecca says, call us for homeless and they are going to bathroom in the streets when they get. I know it. When you're at the lights in your cars, that is so sad. That's sad. It's not only sad; it's sick. Look at the diseases that can be brought into this country, for crying out loud. People, think about this. How do we stop it? I don't have the answer. You may have the answer. That's why this show is for you, so you can help give the answers. And Rebecca says, what's going on? Oh, I got to tell you, I've asked that so many times. Rebecca says also, Trump is the best president we have ever had. I got to tell you, he did more for this country. Doris Roberts says, bobblehead. Well, it's sad because I'm telling you, what's going on. Rebecca says it's horrible. It's sad. It's going on. And we've looked locked up our homes like criminals. Yes, we are locked up in our homes like criminals. And they're using our food as a weapon to get us to do. They're using food as a weapon to get us to do what they want. You're absolutely right. And Francesca, how are you? I'm glad you could make it. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get to you. I don't know how long you've been waiting. I'm glad you could make it, Francesca. Yes, our government officials told us one thing. Sold us out. China will own us if we don't act fast. This is exactly what China will do. They don't let people, you got it, talk against the government. Biden is continuing Obama's anti-American agenda. He sold us out. Did I watch the Mike Lindell? Yes. I watched it on TV. And I got to tell you something. We mentioned that earlier, Francesca, about Mike Lindell. He's on fire. The question is, the Supreme Court will look at these and decide what cases they're going to look at, as far as the election is concerned. But they're not going to act on any of them until October. Between now and October, a lot can happen. A lot that we don't want to happen. I don't know. I'm concerned for America as we are at today. I really am very concerned. I will continue to try my best to make sure my voice is heard. It may not mean anything, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to continue to do what I can for this country. America is in deep trouble. China does own so much of us, it's unreal. And now that they've sold us out, they got rid of the XL, so we're going to have to deal with other countries as far as energy. I know I kind of got off the track here on so many things, but it's because of what you're saying. I respect and I desire to have you make comments, because with your comments it helps me express myself as well. And Rebecca says you don't quarantine healthy people. You quarantine sick people. You know something? When people say that this is so contagious, I want to know something. And when they want to tell us, we have to socialize, distance, or be socially distanced. Why shouldn't we be able to, if we got a mask on and they've got a mask on, if we're forced to do that, because businesses do have the right to tell you can't come in without a mask. Well, down in Florida now, there's a grocery store that nobody's wearing a mask. What do you think about that one? And now yet Fauci and Biden saying you may have to wear a mask for for several years. Nah, that isn't going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now. People will rebel. That's common sense. People will finally get up and rebel. And when you have when they tell you can't come into their store without a vaccine, that means you're going to have proof of it, right? And I see that coming. It's already happening in airlines where you're going to be swabbed first before you can even get on an airline in many cases. And I'm going to tell you something right now. You better be prepared that if you want to take an air flight someplace, you're going to have a card showing you've had your vaccines. What good is a vaccine if you still got to wear a mask? Why the point of having both? Other than, because they're going to make, even if you have the vaccine, you've got to wear a mask. Even if you got a card that says, I've had my vaccine, hold it, I'm good, I'm all good, I'm not contagious, I'm not going to give anybody, I'm not going to give it to them. Rebecca goes on to say, exactly. It's scary. It's very scary. You're right, it is very scary. And right now, I'm going to tell you something. Right now, it is more scary because it's getting deeper. It's getting deeper, stronger, and we're only 3 weeks into this administration. We're, as of Tuesday, I think, 3 weeks, we're into this administration. We're into the progressive administration because look, how can they go after a former president that has threatened, as they put it, by inciting, when you have politicians sitting in Washington, D.C. right now? Maxine Waters is one of them. Biden, he threatened to take Trump out, or he didn't threaten. He wanted to take Trump out behind the building and punch him. Isn't that some kind of an incitement? Shouldn't that be questioned? I'm sure Harris, there's been many others that have said things against our own government, that have incited things. AOC accused, Ted Cruz, of trying to get her murdered. Come on! What is going on within our own Washington, D.C. government that is now so corrupt? And they have got, and the media is so corrupt. And I just saw that Lou Dobbs got let go from Fox because of a statement he made against Fox about calling the election, or something to that effect. I may have read it wrong. I didn't read the whole entire article. I mean, it's just, what's happened? What's happened to America? Can you tell me? Can anybody tell me? I want to get on and keep on reading here because Francesca made a point. Said, I don't believe our patriots in the military will continue this. Or let this continue. Excuse me, Francesca. Everyone is witnessing treason. Oh boy, that's for sure. Live. And something big is coming. Something, I keep saying that. I keep wanting to say that. And I keep thinking that something is going to happen. The question is, what's going to happen? At this point, is the military going to take over Congress and say, we're going to start arresting? They've got to have a reason. They've got to have proof of it. Rebecca is replying to Lori. She said, Rebecca, pork beef mainly. I think you're referring to the meat that I've got. Francesca says it's not over. No, it's not over. No, but that's a little bit of ways, Francesca, in my opinion. I'm not questioning at all what you said. But it's not over in two ways. They're still got a stronghold in Washington because the left has control of the Congress, has control of the government, has control of the people. You got a handful of people. When I say handful of people, I'm referring to what, 535 people in Washington, D.C. that is dictating with 350 million people. I'm going to tell you right now, when we elect them, they are supposed to represent us. They're not supposed to own us, and they're not supposed to dictate to us. They are only supposed to say, this is what we're doing. They only are in session for what, 180 some days a year? And they make all these rules and these laws, not for us, but for them, to benefit them and their families. I got corrected because somebody posted something about, Biden's son was and being investigated back in 2019 or something still. And and I just reposted it, is what I did, and I got corrected saying no, he was cleared of that. Well, I want to know when he was cleared. I want to know when Hunter Biden was cleared. Because he still has dealings with China. But I'm telling you right now, this is getting way out of hand. Terry says that let's see sadly it's already raising oil prices. I said that, I mentioned that last week. Terry, you're right. Look at the gas pumps. It's raising them. And Francisco, you're right. There is a lot to cover. There is so much to cover, it's unreal. By the way, I want to tell you the one thing that, for those of you who are still watching, because we're going to cut the show pretty quick here, because I know it's late. But for all of you that have taken part, I didn't personally thank you for taking part last week. Usually I message everybody. I've had so much going on my mind that I did post it on when I redid the show, thanking everyone for all your great comments, and I will do the same on this show too. If I don't do you personally, I want you to understand it's not because I'm not thinking about you, because I am. But I want to tell you one thing, and I think this ought to make you feel good, and I hope it works. Former President Donald Trump, Jason Miller, advisor to the former president, has said Donald Trump, and this was on February 6th, which is yesterday, is deciding now or how he will he may start his own media company, his social media site, where people can have a voice. This was announced yesterday. There's a big long article on it, and I didn't read all of it because it's too much to read. But to boil it right down, Donald Trump is contemplating. He's got the money. He can build his own servers. He doesn't need Amazon, who took Parler down. He doesn't need somebody else's server. He's got the money to build his own servers. He's got the money to set up a social media. According to Jason Miller, the senior advisor for the former President Donald Trump, said on February 6th that Trump is deciding how now that he will. I'm going to want to make sure I read this right exactly. That he would rearrange on social media, including considering whether to create his own platform. I think that's great. I hope he does, because people have been saying that he needs to do that. He needs to have his own media company, which he's got the money where he can do it. Even when you've got a president that now Scotland's even trying to question him about his money. Let me go on here. Terry says, how many of you are getting the vaccine? That's a good question. Terry goes on to say that she's not. The only thing I'm wondering, Terry, with me, I don't, I'm not planning on anything at this point. The point I'm getting at is this: what, with our government the way it is being run right now, what are you going to do if you don't have the vaccine, and all suddenly, I'm not so much about maybe moms and pops, but I'm talking about stores, maybe JCPenney or Kohl's, or maybe you want to go to a restaurant, Texas Roadhouse, any of those. I'm just throwing things out. If they tell you you cannot come in unless you have your card that shows you've got a vaccine, they've already got a card out. I've seen it. There's already a card that shows you've got that you've had shot number 1 or whatever the case might be. So that's already there. It's already out. I hope you understand what I'm saying. And I'm not telling you to get the vaccine. That absolutely is your right. We are not supposed to be in a situation where we have to be told what to do. America, this is not America that I grew up in. This is not the America that I remember studying about. We can't even study about America now. We can't even study about it in school. The schools aren't even getting to study about it. Of course, they're not even going to school in most places. Rebecca says, wow. Did he really say that? Yes. The people are lighting up. And I'm going to wear a mask for 7 years. I'm not wearing one now. Yeah, really, this is the whole thing is it's going to get to a point where if you don't wear a mask in your own house, I'm exaggerating a little bit now, but you understand where I'm coming from. It could very well happen that they could be knocking on your door saying, "You got your mask on?" It very well could happen. They might say to you knock on your door and say, "Well, we know you have a gun because you were properly registered, but we want that gun now." I mean, there's so many things that could happen, and that they want to happen. That is when America has been taken over. That's how they're being taken over. That's what they did. That's what they do in China. That's what they do in North Korea. That's what they do in Iran. That's what they do in other countries that are nothing but terrorist types of countries. Do you think that the average person in China has a great life like they show on pictures or whatever? No, that doesn't happen that way. Rebecca says, but if they use our medicine and checkpoints, that's another something I'm going to tell you about. We're in trouble. And I'm glad you brought that up because that was something I wanted to mention. We have to stand our ground. In this movie series that I was telling you about, America, they were Underground Railroad type transferring the former senator that got out of prison who had ran for president but was put into prison because he disagreed with what was going on, just like we're disagreeing with a lot of what's going on in our country. Anyway, they had checkpoints. They were bringing him from Nebraska to Chicago. They got to the Indiana state line in this series. There was a checkpoint. There was a checkpoint at each state. I can see that happening in the United States of America if the way things are going right now. I'm telling you right now, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy into that. But look at what's happening with the mask wearing. And if I said 7 years, I'm sorry about that. Because a mask for 7 years, I've heard that he might says that we could be wearing masks for up to 3 years or years. I don't remember the exact term. So if I said it wrong, I'm so sorry and I apologize. But I can tell you right now, people are not going to wear a mask even for another year. I can't see it happening. I cannot see this happening. Not in America. People are going to say we've had enough. And I'm not trying to incite anything. I'm just telling you what's real. This is realistic. People have had enough. They don't want this takeover. They don't want this anarchy. They don't want this type of life. If you want this type of life, go to a country that gives it to you, for crying out loud. And I would say that to anybody in Washington, D.C. who's trying to impose that on us. Go to a country where you can get away with it. Let's get back to the real America, where we have the Constitution, where we have a voice, where we have the right to come and go. How many people had to wear a mask? Of course, I'm guessing. I'm going back to that. What was it, 1918 or whenever it was, that flu pandemic? Nobody wore a mask back then. Nobody wore a mask during the polio. Nobody wore a mask during measles or mumps or anything else. They didn't wear a mask for the regular flu. All of a sudden now we got to wear masks. All of a sudden now the businesses have to be shut down. All of a sudden now, if you think one way, you're in the wrong. There's too much, and Mike Lindell has nailed it. I'm telling you right now, watch his movie if you can find it. One America News, I think, is still up on their website. And I'm telling you, the United States of America is not. We're either going to survive or we're going to drown. We're either going to swim or drown. I'm telling you right now. Francesca says, wouldn't it be something if the military ends up arresting them? Something like I said earlier, that's a possibility. I mean, but I don't know. It would be something. And Hunter would be cleared of what wasn't cleared of anything. It would be something. I can see the possibility, Francesca, that the arrest could be made. But let me tell you something. At this point in time, look, there's so many stories going on around the internet right now about things like this. But let me explain something to you, and it's usually through private messages. Let me explain something. In my opinion, the military doesn't leak these kind of things out. Could it happen that something like this happens? Sure. Something like this could take place, where the military is now just getting ready to, all of a sudden, the military is all of a sudden just waiting for the right time to say, okay, you're under arrest. You're under arrest. You're under arrest. And they clean out the Congress. You'd have maybe 16 or 17 people left, maybe. Because in my opinion, they have turned against America. They are trying to destroy America, and they're being very successful at this point. Right now, it's so obviously successful that they have ended up with a one-sided government. We, as American citizens, have ended up with a one-sided government because they control the House, they control the Senate, they control everything right now. And if Biden, I don't think he'll be the president by the end of the year, but I think Harris will be. And I'm telling you, we're in trouble. Already we're in enough trouble. If Harris gets in, I'm telling you, we're going to be in more trouble. That's my opinion, and I think you can do a background check on her, and you can see for yourself. She's only been in, she was a senator for 3 years, now she's vice president? I can't see it. Rebecca says it's out of hand, and now, and what about the stimulus bill of Biden? Yeah, right. Just signed on the pandemic. That's asserting that is, excuse me, that they are stealing our country. Well, let me tell you something about that fake pandemic that you're talking about, and the stimulus bill. What they're doing with that is they're putting everything but the kitchen sink in it. Everything but the kitchen sink is in that bill that doesn't belong. I'm telling you right now. And it's to help everybody except the American people. I think you already know that. Rebecca says, God bless you, Neil. Rebecca, thank you so much. And God bless you too, because I'm going to tell you something. Right now, we've only got 3 viewers, but guess what? All 3 of you are so important to me. I hope that you will share this video, because that's what it'll be when we get done. And I hope that Facebook doesn't take it down. But thank you for that, Rebecca, because you've had some great comments, and and everybody does, and even Lori. If I question anybody, if I say something, it doesn't mean that I don't agree with you or I don't like what you say. I want you to understand that, because this is your show. Francesca says, I hope Hope it does too. Are you going back to the arrests on that one? I think you might be, Francesca, but I'm not positive on that. Rebecca says, I will not take the vaccine. Okay. That's all there is to it. They lied to us. You're right, Rebecca. We have been lied to. Francesca says, sure it would happen. They are crazy. I like the way you said that. It could happen. They are, you know what's crazy? And I agree with you, Francesca. Not going to happen. You know, there's so much that is happening and not, and that's going on right now, whether it's wearing the mask for another year, or I've even heard them say that we could be looking at this for another 2 years as far as this pandemic, because now they're coming out with other mutations, more mutations all of a sudden. This is slavery to the people. We are now slaves because we're being told we can't do this, we can't do that, we got to stay in our house, you can't socialize, you can't see your family, you can't hug your children, you can't do this, you can't do that. If that's not slavery, I don't know what is. And I think it was Rebecca that said something about gas prices going up. That's part of the slavery. You're either going to pay it or you don't go anywhere. And pretty soon, if they put up checkpoints because you don't have your vaccine, you're not going anywhere anyway. You won't get on an airplane. You won't be able to do it. There's some areas right now that transportation, you cannot ride transportation without that vaccine. In our country, the country of the United States, you can't ride the subway, you can't ride a bus, you can't ride a taxi, you can't ride a train, you can't get on a plane. Where's it going? Where in the heck is this going? I tell you, in my own opinion, and this goes for the Facebook police too, you better think about this. Unless, seriously, it's going to affect your family as well as it does mine or anybody else's family. This is the time America is at its either making or breaking point. Because I'm going to say there's 74 to 80 million people, and maybe more, that are going to say, no, we're not doing this anymore. They're going to throw their masks away. They're going to tell the vaccine doctor or whoever, the vaccine police, go jump in the lake. They're going to defend their families. They're going to defend their homes. They're going to defend everything there is about them. They're going to defend their food. I'm going to tell you something. What happens in America is going to affect the rest of this world. Count on that. I'm not a politician. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a theologian. I'm not anything but an ordinary person who believes in trying to do what I think is right. And I'm telling you right now, there's going to come a point when America is going to go back to what it's supposed to be. It's either that or we will be destroyed. We are already the slave, and we've already been, in my opinion, and I said this last week, what's happened, like the pandemic, when they create fear, when they create the lockdown, and they create the vaccine, and they create that you have to have that. They create the fear that becomes slavery. When you accept it, that becomes takeover, like what's happened in Washington D.C. right now today with our House and Senate and the administration. That is takeover, in my opinion. Maybe I'm not using the right words, but that's the words that I have come up with: slavery and takeover. I find no difference in either one of them. I'm gonna go on here. Francesca says you're right. People don't let it happen. I'm praying that I'm right about that one because I want to see America go back. I want America back. I don't want America the way it is right now. This is not America. Trust me, this is not America. This is becoming a Venezuela. This is becoming a Cuba. This is becoming a country that is fearful of each other. People who are afraid of their next door neighbor because you might have the COVID. Fearful of your children who you might not have seen for months or a year because they might have been around somebody that has the COVID. They created a country of fear. We didn't have that. We didn't have that in 2016. We had hope. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, all of a sudden 2020 comes along and China unleashes what I would think would be a biochemical warfare. So America, in my point, is at war. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Francesca says the military can take control of the government. I looked that up, and because I was going to talk about that. I was going to make that part of my talk or discussion tonight. Not my talk, but my topic. But the thing I'm questioning, and it goes back to what I was talking about earlier about the military. Talking about the stand down to address extremism within the ranks. What are they going to do? Check everybody's social accounts? Find out if they ever were arrested, or find out if they ever used they ever had got smoked a joint or whatever? I don't know. What are they going to do? Is this really about the Constitution and protecting us from foreign and domestic terrorism? Because if that's the case, we've got how many hundreds of people in Washington, D.C. that are doing exactly the opposite. They're not protecting the Constitution against foreign and domestic. They're allowing the foreign to come into the country through our border. Think about that. They're allowing that to happen. I'm sorry if I'm yelling. I really am. But I can't help but get myself worked up to the point where why are we having people in Congress that are allowing people coming in across the border? Why are people coming in across the border that could be terrorists when they took an oath to protect the United States against foreign and domestic terrorism? They turned them loose. Kamala Harris, when she was a prosecutor, turned them loose, and even when she was running as vice president or being considered for vice president, whatever the case might be, she was bailing people out that were criminals. What kind of people is running our country? You tell me. Can you tell I'm upset? Can you tell that I can see the downfall of America? Can you see that America is sliding downhill very fast? And we as Americans have to keep our voices going. We as Americans have to figure out something. Do some research. Do not use Google. I'm telling you that right now. Use Dogpile or DuckDuckGo, somebody else, anything. There's got to be other search engines. Use them. Do some research. Francesca says, right, other mutations of is a bunch of bull. Yeah, I agree with her. All about control. That's the slavery I was talking about, Francesca. I don't see Biden take administration much, or taking on the fake administration. Okay, I see what you're saying. Much longer. Pray our military acts. You know something, there's more and more people talking about military takeover. There really is. And I don't know, would you call that a coup at this point? Because we had a coup in this last election, as far as I'm concerned. That's the term I've used, is it was a coup. That's the term so many other people have used, that there was a coup, and it worked. So would it be a military coup? Would it be a coup that Americans would do? I'm not suggesting anything at this point other than the fact that if the military has the right, the military needs to look into who's running our country and what they're doing to destroy our country, and how they look. The money was already spent. The supplies were already done to finish the wall, and we stopped it. What kind of waste is that? What kind of thinking is that? That's crazy thinking, for crying out loud. I mean, you got the possibility of China troops in Canada. You got the possibility of China troops around in South America, around the Mexican border somewhere. We don't know what's there. We're not being told what's behind there. We're not being told who's coming up through South America into Mexico and across into our borders. And we open up the door, shake their hands, and say, "Come on in. Come right on in." Oh, for crying out loud, you're sick? Oh, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of you. You're hungry? Well, guess what? We're going to give you a stimulus check of $1,400 or $2,000. We're going to make sure you have food. Oh, you need a house? Well, guess what? Let me see. Wait a minute. I know somebody who's living in a house that can either put you in their house because they've got room, or you can just take that house away from them. Am I exaggerating? Maybe. Is it possible? You're darn right. Francesca says, that's right. We're not going to take it much longer. And as long as they are patriots, that's why they want us. They want to quiet us. Wow, are you right on that one, Francesca? The best is yet to come. I pray that you're right. Don't give up hope. And you know something? I guess I can't give up hope. Because, Francesca, I got to tell you something. When you give up hope, they own you. Satan loves it when you give up hope. A country right now, and this is just my opinion, I don't, please, again, I'm not a theologian, I'm not trying to preach about something that, I'm just telling you how I was taught. But right now, in my opinion, I said this last week, I think, but I'm going to put it to you this way again. Right now, we're in a battle of good versus evil. Satan is here working. He's working, and when he sees us give up hope, it's like he's just jumping up and down and shouting, "Yay, Toyota," clicking his heels and all. Rebecca says, keep your faith. Things are happening behind the scenes. I think you're right, Rebecca, and believe me, I'm not losing my faith. When I say this, what's happening to America, what are we going to do, and how are we going to keep this from going on the way it is? I'm going to tell you right now, it's because of the fact so many people are being censored. And I just pray that that there's a way that there will be more and more free censorship sites come up, or the non-censorship sites, excuse me, more open discussions sites where we can voice our true opinions, whether you like it or whether you're not. Somebody doesn't have to like what I say. People disagree with me all the time, but that doesn't mean they hate me. That doesn't mean I hate them. That doesn't mean I want to shut them up. People that have a voice have a right to speak. It's when they incite that I can't go along with that. I don't want to see the bloodshed. The only time I want the bloodshed's going to happen is if God decides that's what it's going to take. That's my opinion. I'm sorry if I'm upset anybody, but that's the way I feel. Let me look here. Oh, wait a minute, we got somebody new. Is that? I want to make sure I say that right. Is it Shanna? Okay. Obama flew Somalians into our country. You know something? I read something about that just recently, and you really hit it. You really did hit that one. I can't prove it. I really can't prove it. But I got to tell you something. You made a good point. I'm glad you could join us. I really am. I hope you'll join us again on the next show. And speaking of next show, I'm going to wrap this one up because I've been going on for an hour and a half now. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I'm going to try, I promise you, I'm going to try to message you individually and thank you all for your participation. Rebecca and Francesca, Lori, oh my gosh, how many others? There's so many others that took part and had commented and said things that make so much sense. You know, we all give each other courage. We all give each other love. We all give each other the hope that we were talking about just a little bit ago. You're all great. I mean, truthfully, you are all great. Francesca says, yes, it's unseen faces that we're fighting. Oh, wow, is that the truth? I know if we pray, God will help us. It's coming. Amen to that one. And with that, I tell you what, let's do end the show with that. Francesca, that was a great way of putting it. Rebecca, thank you for everything you've said about keeping the faith. I hope, I plan on doing a show for next Sunday, if that's all right, unless something serious happens in between then. And then I'll probably do a show on Thursday. But I'll try to let you know. Shauna says it's been going on for decades. Started mostly with the murder of JFK. So much happened then. You're absolutely right. I'm telling you right now. And I hope I'm not butchering your name. I apologize if I am. But let me tell you something. And this is very interesting. I want you to think about this, please. Jason, tonight when he was on, do you know that most of my shows, and I mean this from my heart, this is all good. Most of the shows have mostly women that are on the show expressing their views. And I want to tell you something, that's a very important thing. Because it tells me that the women today, the women are really on top of things. You're here to help save this country. I'm telling you, I can tell you that right now. Thank God for you ladies. And thank God, of course, for any of the men that take part. But I do get more women, and I think possibly maybe because some of the men get a little aggravated with me, which is okay. That's what it's all about. Francesca says, thank you, Neil. God bless you, and God bless all. God bless us all is right. Thank you very much, Francesca. Thanks for taking part, Shannon. Thank you, and I hope you'll return next week. And I don't know what the topic will be for sure, but whatever it'll be, I hope that you'll join. If I got off of topic a little bit tonight, I think I covered most everything that I wanted to cover, because I wanted to tell you right now that the main thing was the military wanting to use the excess extremism against military people. But the point I'm getting at there is the fact that I don't know how far they're going with it. What is that all about? And I think we need to dig into that a little bit more. What are they going to do with the people that are in the military? And they're talking about even civil workers. So we'll get into that more. If I see that it's something, or if you see that it's something we should discuss, let's do that. But we did get into something that's very important, and that is the fact that of the COVID, the lockdown, the fact that we're being slaves, talking about the censorship, which is so important. I just want to say thank you again. I hope you'll join me next week. In the meantime, please stay safe, be well. God bless you all, and God bless America. This is Neil Douglas, and this is American Truth Finders. Good night. God bless. Be well. And God bless America.